Do you have any question? Okay, last time I discussed how to write an essay, and I said that the essay is made up of 3 parts: an introduction, which introduces the topic, and at the end of the introduction you should write the thesis statement, which is the main idea of your essay. Then you have the body. The body is made up of developmental paragraphs, and each paragraph should develop, i.e. should discuss one main idea, and you should write a topic sentence at the beginning of each developmental paragraph. And your topic sentences and your thesis statement should be sentences. They shouldn't be questions. And finally, you have the conclusion. In the conclusion, you write a summary of the main points of your paper. So in the conclusion, you don't have to give a piece of advice or to give recommendations to your reader or to ask questions or to conclude with quotes. The conclusion in academic English should be a summary of the main ideas that you have studied. Okay, and you should provide a title for your essay. There is no essay without a title. The title should be related to the content of your essay. Okay, so this is how you should write. Stop this noise, please. Okay. So you should write a title, and the title should reflect the content of your essay. Now, before you write your essay, you have to prepare an outline. The outline helps you organize your ideas. Are your kids attending the class with you? Okay, so the outline helps you organize your own ideas. And when you write an outline for your paper, you should proceed according to that outline. Now, suppose you are going to write a term paper. A term paper is similar to a research paper. We call it a term paper because it is a paper that you write during a certain term, i.e. during a semester. So that's why we call it a term paper. Suppose you are taking the Shakespeare course and you want to write a paper on, let's say, madness in King Lear. So this is the topic. Okay, you want to write a paper on madness in King Lear. You have to prepare an outline. The first part of the outline is the introduction. So this is number 1. Okay, so you write number 1, introduction, and then you write your thesis statement. Then you have number 2, the body. You may use Roman numerals in this case. So Roman numeral 1.
Sorry, doctor, but your voice is not clear.
My voice is clear. I was giving a lecture 15 minutes ago, and the students didn't say that the voice is not clear. If you have poor internet quality, it is not my problem. And I'm not going to discuss the class if one of you or two say the voice is not clear. You are the only students who claim that the voice is not clear. So try to change your position. Sit next to your D-Link so that you will have a good internet quality.
Okay, okay.
Okay? So the outline is made up of an introduction. This is Roman numeral 1. So here you write your thesis statement. Then the body is number 2. Now it depends on how many ideas you're going to discuss in the body. Okay? Now if you are going to discuss 3 main points, it means that you will have 3 main parts of the body. Okay? So here in this case, since you have madness in King Lear, you will have to make changes a little bit. Okay? Now, first of all, you have Roman numeral 1, introduction, Roman numeral 2, body, and here you have to divide the body into parts. So if you have 3 main points, it means that you have 3 main parts. So you have capital A. This is a sub part of the body. And next to A, you write the idea that you will discuss in this part. Then you have capital B. It stands for the second idea. Then capital C. And here you have to write the third idea. Then number 3 is the conclusion. So this is the layout of the outline. Now, if you have a methodology that you will use to write your paper, you have to add a part, i.e. a paragraph related to methodology. So here you start with number 1, the introduction. Then number 2 is the methodology. So this means that the first paragraph of your essay is the introduction that introduces the topic. The second part or the second paragraph is your methodology. It presents the methodology that helps you analyze the topic. So here the methodology is the definition of madness in literature. Okay? So in the second paragraph, you have to define madness as it is used in literature. Here I don't expect you to give me a definition of madness from a psychological point of view. I don't want to have a psychological or a scientific definition of madness. All of us know that madness is a certain kind of mental disturbance. I don't need this definition. Okay, so I want you to present a definition of madness that is related to literature. So here in this case, you may read what critics or writers have written on madness, i.e. you have to present their definition of madness. Okay? For example, I will give you a definition of madness. Madness gives an insight into the true nature of things. Madness, write it down, gives an insight into the true nature of things. So this is the definition of madness that I want you to present in your paper. Okay, so this is the definition that has been given by philosophers as well as by literary critics. Okay, so you present this definition of madness in a separate paragraph. Okay, so if you are writing on madness in King Lear, you write the introduction. After the introduction, you start a new paragraph. In this paragraph, you define madness according to philosophers and writers. After you are done with the definition of madness, you have to show me the role of madness in King Lear. So in this case, your outline for this essay will run as follows. Number 1, introduction. Okay, we know that King Lear's madness is not similar to the madness of any ordinary man. King Lear's madness gives him insight into the true nature of man, the true nature of kingship, and the true nature of civilization. Right? All of you have taken Shakespeare with me. And in this course I discussed how King Lear as a madman becomes a wise person. So that's why Edgar comments on King Lear, saying on King Lear's statements on civilization and human nature, saying reason in madness. And here you remember when King Lear is presenting his view of human nature. He is presenting his view of social injustice and social discrimination. He presents his view of the social order and the state of nature. He presents his view of the true nature of kingship. Okay, so in this case, King Lear's madness is a positive aspect of his character. Okay, so in this case, you write the introduction that introduces the topic, which is the role of madness in King Lear. So it is the madness that gives King Lear an insight into the true nature of man, of kingship, of civilization. This is your thesis statement. Okay, then in the second paragraph, you define madness. Okay, so your definition of madness should be related to how it is defined by philosophers and literary critics. Okay, so this is part 2. Part 3 is the body. So in part 3, you have, let's say, a title, Madness in King Lear. Okay, so under this title, you have A, B, C, i.e. 3 parts of the body.
Doctor, sorry for the interruption.
Yes.
I want to tell you something that when we usually write the essay, when we finish, as students, we write the outcome.
It is wrong. You write the outline and you proceed according to the outline. Okay? You can't write, let's say, your MA thesis, then you write the outline. Okay? Because before you write your MA thesis, you have to turn in a proposal. And turn in the proposal, you have to write a tentative outline of your thesis. And in this tentative outline, you tell your reader or readers what you're going to discuss in each chapter. So the chapter that you have in an MA thesis is similar, let's say, to a paragraph or to a part that you have in an essay. So it is unacademic to write the outline at the end. Okay? So in this case, you write the outline on the basis of what you have written in the essay. It is wrong. The outline should direct you, should guide you as you write the essay. So it helps you organize your ideas. Okay? So the first part of the outline is the introduction. This is number one. Number two is the definition of your methodology, which is the definition of madness in literature. Then part three should deal with madness in King Lear, the play. And here you have to underline King Lear because it is the title of the play. Now in King Lear, his madness or Lear's madness provides him with insight into three issues. So that's why you have to divide the body into three parts. The first part, which is numbered capital A, let's say, is insight into human nature. So when I read this outline, I realize that the first paragraph of your body addresses, develops, deals with how King Lear's madness has given him or has led him to understand the true nature of humanity. Then number two, which is capital B, is understanding the nature of kingship. And you know that King Lear realizes that as a king he has been surrounded by flatterers, i.e. false people, fake people, people who want to please him in order to get what they want. And the third part of your body is understanding the true nature of civilization. Okay, so in this case...
Sorry, Doctor?
Yes.
But can you repeat, please, B, understanding the nature of what?
Kingship. King Lear realizes that when he was a king, people used to flatter him. Okay, so kingship is the word of flattery and hypocrisy. And number three is understanding the true nature of civilization. Okay, so King Lear realizes that civilization is built on social discrimination and social injustice. In his madness, King Lear realizes that there are social differences between the rich and the poor. Okay, so King Lear realizes that in civilization, man is supposed to act as a human being, whereas in the state of nature, man behaves as an animal. So that's why he says, if you strip man of the gorgeous clothes that civilization has afforded him, has given him, he will be nothing but, i.e. he will be a bare, i.e. naked, forked animal, i.e. he will be a naked animal walking on two. Okay, so here he realizes the differences between the state of nature and the social order. And the social order here is civilization, as I told you in the Shakespeare course. Okay, so King Lear's madness gives him three levels or three types of knowledge. Okay, so this is how you should analyze and you should organize your ideas. So I don't expect you to discuss the human nature, then all of a sudden you shift to discussing, let's say, the nature of kingship. It is impossible, it is wrong, unacademic to discuss two different issues in one paragraph. Okay? So this means that your body is made up of three main parts. This doesn't necessarily mean 3 paragraphs only. You may have 6 paragraphs. So each part may have 2 paragraphs. Who knows? It depends on how much information you want to discuss in your paper. So if it is a research paper, not a short essay, I don't expect you to write 3 body paragraphs. You have to elaborate. You have to discuss in detail. So that's why you don't score high marks on the Shakespeare course, because you don't know how to answer the question. You give me main ideas, you throw them over my head, but you don't explain them. You don't elaborate on these ideas.
Doctor,
Yes.
if we're going to write an essay on the body paragraph, for example, in body paragraph A, if it contains one idea, let's say about the understanding of the human, should it be in one paragraph or you should write more than one paragraph? And
Of course it should be more than one paragraph. It is an essay. I don't expect you to write a 1 paragraph essay. You have to exclude the introduction and the conclusion. This is not an essay.
No, doctor, I mean something else.
You said, can you write a 1 paragraph essay on the first issue? I said no. Okay, King Lear's madness gives him insight into human nature. Do you think that it is enough to discuss human nature in 1 paragraph with reference to King Lear? You took the course. Is it enough?
No.
Okay. You can't discuss King Lear's view of human nature in 1 paragraph, so you may need 2 or 3 paragraphs. Because in this case, you have to discuss not only the positive aspect of human nature, you have also to discuss the dark side of human nature, the evil side of human nature that reduces man to the level of animals living in the state of nature. Okay? So King Lear becomes aware of the fact that if man is stripped of the luxuries of the borrowings, he uses the word borrowings, i.e. the luxuries, the second nature of civilization. So if man is stripped of the second nature that he acquires as a result of developing from the state of nature to the social order, so if man is stripped of this second nature, he will reduce, or he will be reduced to the level of animals. And you have to discuss how. In this case, you have to discuss how Edmund, Goneril, and Regan and Cornell are controlled by their first nature, which is evil, according to philosophers. Man who is living in the state of nature is evil. And according to Thomas Hobbes, man is wolf to man. So in the state of nature, man lacks laws and rules and codes of behavior, of conduct, that lead him to behave as a human being. So here King Lear realizes the difference between the human nature in the state of nature, i.e. in a jungle, and the human nature as it is described in the social order. So it is not enough to discuss only the evil nature of Goneril, Regan, and Edmund. No. Because King Lear doesn't believe in the state of nature. Okay? So King Lear becomes aware of the fact that if man liberates himself from the constraints, from the restraints of civilization, he becomes an animal. Okay? So civilization, as I told you before, requires that, and this is Freud's point of view, requires that man controls his basic instincts, i.e. his drives that lead him to behave as an evil creature. Okay? So Goneril, Regan, Edmund, Cornell are embodiments of the state of nature. So we have to discuss this, as well as you have to discuss the human nature that is nurtured by civilization. So in this case, you can't write one paragraph. So if you want to discuss the subject in detail, you need to refer to Edmund's soliloquy that is mentioned in Act 1, Scene 1 or Scene 2, I don't remember. So there is a long soliloquy that Edmund utters at the end of one of the scenes of Act 1. So Edmund says that nature, thou art my goddess, and nature here is the state of nature. And here you have to discuss why he wants to destroy the social order. The social order is associated with laws. He is not the product of law. Edmund is the illegitimate son of King Lear. He is the son, he is the product of adultery. And adultery is a violation of one of the religious sacraments of Christianity, marriage. So marriage is a social institution that is sanctified by the church. So it is one of the social institutions that control man's behavior. So Edmund is the result of violating the social codes that control man's behavior. So that's why he wants to go back to the state of nature. So the state of nature is his real universe. It is the universe where he achieves self-actualization. Okay? And Goneril and Regan are evil because they want to replace their father. So they act as the strong animals that beat or feed on the weak animal, i.e. on King Lear. Okay, so in this case, I expect you to write at least 4 paragraphs. Okay, so if you write 2 paragraphs on the human nature in the state of nature, you need to write 2 paragraphs on the nature of human beings in the social order. So you have to refer to King Lear and to his view of the bright side of human nature, and you have also to refer to Edgar. Okay, Edgar is the embodiment of the social order that King Lear wants to preserve after he dies. And I told you that King Lear's noble cause is to have a kingdom ruled by Christian values, i.e. he wants to make sure that the kingdom perpetuates the social order, not the state of nature. Okay, so here you have 3 main parts in which you discuss the theme of madness in King Lear. Then number 4 is the conclusion. This is how you should write an outline, and you should proceed according to the outline. Is it clear?
Yes, Dr. Clear.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, now when you write your essays, you have to determine your point of view. Do you have the book?
Yes.
No.
Okay,
No.
you should get the book.
Yes, Dr.
Because sometimes you need to buy the book. Because sometimes I need to refer to examples that are taken from the book. And when I discuss the chapter on the research paper, I need to refer to the samples that the book offers you on how to write a bibliography note. Okay, so we are not in a real classroom, we don't have a board, so we need to read certain parts from the book, you need to follow, and I have to discuss. Okay, it doesn't mean that.
Doctor,
Yes.
I have the book, Doctor. I bought it.
Okay, I'm addressing those who don't have the book.
Oh,
They
okay.
should buy the book. Because you have sample essays, you have sample paraphrases, sample summaries, you need to read them in the book. Okay, now when you write, this is the first chapter of the book, it is entitled Introduction to Essay Development. I will discuss the second part of this chapter, which is entitled Determining Your Point of View, and this is page 4 in your book. I asked you to number the pages. Okay, and in this case, I will be referring to the numbers that I have added to my book. Okay, so you have to number the pages of your book from 1 maybe to 150 or 200. I don't know how many pages do we have. Okay, I don't know how many pages we have. So here we have to determine our point of view. And last time I said the perspective. A perspective is similar to the point of view. Now we have 3 types of point of view, or 3 types of perspective, or 3 types of approach. They have the same meaning. We have the first person approach. This is the title that your book uses. Okay? Now, I lecture without referring to the book. So if I say approach, if I say perspective, if I say point of view, all of these mean the same thing. Okay? So the first person approach means that you use the I point of view. You use the I point of view. What does it mean? It means that you write about yourself. This is the meaning of, yes. Okay, so when I ask you to write about a personal experience, when I ask you to write about yourself, I expect
We
you
usually use first person approach in writing autobiography.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the time, by the way. We have two different types of autobiography. Okay?
Yes,
So that you will not say that I'm teaching you wrong ideas. No, not all autobiographies are written okay. What I was saying is that not all autobiographies are written from the first person point of view. In other words, we don't use I in all autobiographies. For example, if I want to write my own autobiography, I may refer to myself directly. Okay? So in this case, I, i.e. I am, is a character in that autobiography. Okay? So if I am a character in that autobiography and I want to write about myself, I use I. So this is what we call formal autobiography. Okay? This is what we call formal autobiography. Okay? So in a formal autobiography, the writer, the author, figures, i.e. appears as a character in the novel, in the autobiography. Okay? So in this case, you have a character in the novel called, let's say, Muhammad Jum'a. Okay? So in this case, I am a character. And I am writing about my own experience. Okay? I will give you an example of a formal autobiography. Formal, F-O-R-M-A-L. Okay? I will give you an example. There is an autobiography written by Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe. I will spell the name for you. Chinua, C-H-I-N-U-W. No, Chinua, C-H-I-N-U-A. This is the first name. Achebe, A-C-H-E-B-E. Chinua Achebe is a Nigerian novelist. He is a writer, in fact. He wrote his formal autobiography, which is entitled There Was a Country. This is his autobiography. So this autobiography, Chinua Achebe, figures as a character in the novel. And it starts with himself. He says, I was born in, and he mentions the name of the city where he was born, the date of his birth, the school where he studied, and the newspaper where he worked. Okay, so he always uses I. Okay, so this is a formal autobiography. So this is when you have to use the first person approach. So the first person approach is used when you have to deal with a personal experience or when you have to talk about yourself. So in this case, I expect you to use I. So you can say that I am X, this is your name. I am a student at the Lebanese University. I am majoring in English literature. Yes, you are referring to yourself. Okay, so the first person point of view is used when you have to write about a personal experience. Okay, now we have another type of autobiography. The second type of autobiography is called a static autobiography. Okay, in this autobiography, the author doesn't figure as a character. He hides his character, he hides himself, his beliefs, his ideas behind one, maybe two or three characters. Okay, I'm not going to discuss autobiography because you have taken this course before. Okay, so in a formal autobiography, you use I. Okay, now in your book, you have a paragraph that is written from the first person point of view. If you have the book, I will read some sentences. I'm not going to read all of the paragraph in order not to waste your time. First of all, this is at the bottom of page 4. I like, it is I like comfort when I am camping. My GMC motorhome with its completely equipped kitchen, shower stall, toilet, double bed, and color television resembles a mobile motel room. I can sleep on a real mattress, clean sheets, and fluffy pillows. So this is the first person approach. Okay, so you use it when you want to write your autobiography, when you want to write about a personal experience. Then you have.
But I want to ask you, in the first person approach, here the writer is subjective, yeah?
Of course. Yes, the first person approach is a subjective point of view. That's why in academic English, we don't expect our students to write their MA thesis or their PhD dissertations or their research papers saying in this essay I will discuss the theme of madness in King Lear. I don't expect you to say I believe that Othello is a tragic hero who tries to destroy the barriers between different human cultures and civilizations. You can't say I believe that Othello is a tragic hero who wants to bring all races, all human ethnic groups into a certain kind of a human community. Instead of saying I all the time, you can say Othello is a tragic hero who aims at destroying the barriers that are erected between different human ethnicities. It is enough. And it is as simple as that. So we don't need to intrude I need to get into the essay every now and then. Okay? So when you say I believe, it means that your essay lacks objectivity. Okay? So the third person approach, which means the approach that uses he, i.e., the third person is objective. So it is better to say Othello intends to build a human community where all races are placed on an equal footing. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so we are done with the first person approach. Now the second person approach. Now in the second person approach, the writer addresses the audience directly. Okay? So it means that the writer talks to the audience directly, just as I am talking to you. Okay? So in a class like this, I as a teacher has to use you. I need to address the audience. I'm not talking in vacuum. Okay? So I'm giving a lecture to a group of students. So that's why I need to use the second person approach. Okay? So in the second person approach, the writer addresses the audience. He talks directly to the audience. So we use this approach when we write what we call process analysis essays. Process analysis essays. Okay? Now the process analysis essay is an essay that gives the reader instructions, information on how to do something. Okay? So what I'm doing now is a process analysis essay. Yes, it is an oral process analysis essay. So I'm giving you instructions on how to write an essay. So in order to give you instructions, I need to use you. I need to talk to you directly. Okay? So that's why the second person approach is used in process analysis essays. Otherwise, you don't have to use it. Okay? Now, if you are writing an essay on language acquisition, since some of you are language students, you don't have to say to your reader that in order to acquire language, you have to be exposed to language. Okay? This is wrong. This is technically, academically wrong. So instead you can say the child should be exposed to language so that he will be able to acquire language. And we know that there are many requirements for language acquisition. Okay? So one of these requirements is exposure to language. Okay? So you are born to a, let's say, Lebanese family living in Lebanon. Okay? So to acquire Arabic, you should be exposed to Arabic. Okay? Now, if your parents don't talk to you, if your parents and your brothers and sisters don't talk to you at all, you will not acquire the language as early and as easily as the children who are exposed to the Arabic language. Okay? So here you can't say to acquire language, you have to be exposed to language. Don't say to acquire language, we have, or to acquire language, the child should be exposed to language. So in this case, you sound academic, scientific, objective. So that's why we prefer, yes.
So in the second approach, we only use it while oral lecturing, not while writing, right?
I said process analysis essay. A process analysis essay is written. It is not necessarily oral. Right? When you were students at school, your teachers used to ask you to write an essay on how, let's say, to make a certain dish. And dish here means a kind of food. Right? How to, let's say, to write an academic paper. I may ask you to write an essay on how to write an academic research paper. So in this case, you write an essay and you use you. Is it clear now? Ines, I think you asked the question.
Yes, doctor?
Is it clear?
Yes. So in the academic research, if we write an essay about it, we can use you, right?
I said, if I'm teaching you composition or academic writing, I have to teach you different types of essay, right?
Yes.
So I may teach you a narrative essay. I may teach you how to write a compare-contrast essay, how to write a cause-effect essay, how to write a definition essay, how to write an argumentative essay, how to write a process analysis essay. So when I teach you how to write a process analysis essay, I ask you to write an essay on how to do something. For example, you may choose to write on how to make, let's say, tabbouleh. So it is a written essay. So in this case, you have to use you. Is it clear now?
Yes, yes, doctor.
Okay, but if I ask you to write a compare-contrast essay, I don't expect you to use you. So if I say compare and contrast two writers, let's say, two novels, two poems, you study poetry, you study novels, you study short stories. Okay, so I may choose a certain theme. And I say this compare and contrast this author with that author. I don't expect you to use you. I don't expect you to use I. So your duty is to show the similarities and the differences between two authors or between two novels or two poems. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we call academic English. So in your assignments at university, you are to adopt the third person approach, and are indicates obligation. It is verb to be. Okay, it is similar to the modal auxiliary verb have to. Okay, so verb to be indicates an obligation that is imposed on you. I am imposing on you this obligation. So that's why I said you are to adopt the third person approach. Okay, it is not up to you to choose. When I use are, i.e. when I use verb to be to indicate an obligation, it means that it is not up to you to choose. Okay, So the third person approach means that you use neither you nor I or we. You have to use the third person point of view, i.e. he, they, them. Okay? The third person approach is the most commonly used point of view in academic writing. So that's why in my classes, I expect you to use this approach. And you should use this approach in all of your classes, not only in my class. But in my class, it is binding on you to use the third person approach. Okay? So all of these techniques that I am introducing in this course should be acquired by you, and they should be implemented by you, i.e. you should use them when you write your essays or your research papers. Okay? So you can't go around and say we haven't studied this before. I'm not asking you about what you did before. I'm asking you to follow my dictates. Okay? You don't have to say at school they used to tell us that you can write the thesis statement as a question mark. I don't care about them. You may say that at school they used to tell us that we may write the thesis statement at the beginning of the introduction. I don't care about it. Okay? I'm not teaching you creative writing. Creative writing is completely different than academic writing. Okay? So in the future you may want to be a storyteller. You may want to be a novelist. You may want to be a poet. It is up to you to choose whatever approach you want. Okay? You may write short sentences, you may write long sentences, you may write compound sentences, you may write simple, you may write complex sentences, you may write compound complex sentences, you may write fragments. It's up to you. This is creative writing. But in academic English, you have to use a variety of sentence structure. What does it mean? It means that you don't have to use one type of sentence structure. i.e. you can't write an essay using only short sentences, i.e. simple sentences. This is unacademic. This reflects negatively on you as a writer. Do you know what it means?
راحت على النون وتع
Mute yourself. Mute yourself, you تشفع.
تين مش تين تين
Okay. As a student of language and literature, you are not supposed to write simple sentences only in your essays. You have to use a variety of sentence structure. Your sentences should be simple, compound, complex, and compound, complex sentences. Okay? So if you write or use one type of sentence structure, your essay will sound monotonous. Yes, we use this in composition. Yes, like music. Okay? So if a piece of music uses, let's say, one kind of rhythm, it sounds boring. This is the meaning of monotonous. Ratib in Arabic. And ratib or monotonous means that it is boring. So if you are listening to a piece of music that is made up of one rhythm, you will get bored. Okay? So that's why when we teach composition at the advanced level, we say to our students that you have to have a variety of sentence structure to avoid monotony. Okay, so this is the rhythm of your essay. Okay, so rhythm in composition means the type or the types of sentences that you use in your composition. Okay, so this is number one. You have to use a variety of sentence structure in order to avoid monotony. This is what we call rhythm. You have to use your own style. Okay, so you don't have to plagiarize. This is it. Plagiarize. When you plagiarize, it means that you steal an essay and you turn it in as if it were your own composition. This is plagiarism. So when I say to my students that they have, or I want to hear their voices, it means that I want them to write their own essays. So the voice in composition is the style that the student employs in writing his or her essay. Okay, so you have to avoid plagiarism. This is the meaning of voice. So I want to hear your voices. Okay, so if I give you an assignment, I don't expect you to go online and download a certain article that is related to the same topic and then you turn it into me. This is plagiarism. Okay, so in your essay you have to use different types of sentences. And you have to use linking signals, i.e. transitional words. So you don't have to overuse and, or, but, so, yet, nor, or. These are coordinating conjunctions. And they are mainly used in spoken English. Okay? So I don't want you to overuse so. Let's say in your essay. So if you use so, you may use it once. So instead of overusing so, you may use therefore, as a result, moreover, also, furthermore, consequently, hence. You have 7 conjunctions to use in addition to so. Okay? Instead of overusing and, you may use also. By the way, I said also. It also is wrong. Also it indicates addition. It is not the same as consequent. You have also, moreover, furthermore, in addition. Okay, so these have the same meaning as and. Instead of overusing so, you can use consequently. As a result. Hence, thus, therefore. Instead of overusing but, you can use whereas. You can use while. You can use in contrast. You can use on the other hand. Okay? So these are the transitional words that you may have come across in your other courses. So try to use them when you write your essays and when you write your research papers. Okay, so this is academic English. So that's why I want you, as I said, to use different types of sentences, and you have to avoid using fragments. Don't use fragments in your essays. You may say that sometimes we use a fragment to emphasize a certain idea. I know that a fragment is used to emphasize a certain idea. But you are not allowed to do it in an academic essay. Don't write fragments. Don't write exclamations in your essays. For example, you can't say, what a devastating image of war. This is an exclamation. You're not allowed to write it in your essay. And this is according to the MLA. The MLA, which I referred to last time. According to the MLA, i.e. the Modern Language Association, you cannot write exclamatory statements or utterances in your research paper. In your thesis, MA theses, in your PhD dissertations. Don't use them. Okay? We may use fragments in creative writing, it's fine. And there is a purpose. I may write short sentences only. There is a purpose in mind. Okay? So when I use a certain kind of sentence structure in creative writing, I mean to convey a certain message. Okay? So sometimes the sentence structure goes hand in hand with the theme that you are dealing with in your creative writing. Okay? So that's why I may use only short sentences. Or maybe in one paragraph, I may use only short sentences. Okay? But in academic English, you have to use a variety of sentence structures. Okay? So the point of view that you have to adopt is the third person approach. I.e. the he. And this is the most objective point of view. So in order to be objective, you have to adopt the point of view of the third person, i.e. the point of view of the outsider. Okay? So it means that you are not a biased person. Here I have an example. So the paragraph that I read 10 minutes ago or maybe 15 minutes ago with reference to the first person approach is rewritten from the third person point of view. It is page 5, towards the middle of the page, if you have the book. Here we have, first of all, modern campers bring complete bedrooms with them. Winnebagos GMC motorhomes and Airstream trailers lumber into America's campgrounds every summer like mobile motel rooms. All the comforts of home are provided inside. Campers sleep on real mattresses with clean sheets and fluffy pillows. I'm not going to read the rest. Okay, so here you have campers, i.e. they, the third person plural. You have, again, campers in the last sentence. Campers sleep on real mattresses. So in the first paragraph that I read with reference to the first person approach, we have I can sleep on a real mattress. Here you have campers sleep. It is they sleep on real mattresses with clean sheets and fluffy pillows. So this is the third person approach that you have to adopt when you write your academic essays and your research papers. Okay? So in my class, when I give you an assignment or when you write the final exam, you don't have to use the third person approach or the second person approach. Okay? Now in the following chapter, which is entitled Examples, can you find it? It is page 8 in your book.
Yes, doctor, we found it.
Okay? It is entitled Examples. In this chapter, you have student essays to consider. And the first one is entitled Everyday Cruelty. And the second one is entitled Altered States. And at the end of these two essays, you have questions related to unity, support, coherence, introduction, and conclusion. Read the two essays and try to answer the questions. I will go over them quickly next time. I will not read them in detail. I will choose some paragraphs to comment on them. Okay? Now here you have unity. What does unity mean? Unity means that a paragraph deals with one main idea. Okay, write it down. Unity means that a paragraph deals with one main idea. For example, on the Shakespeare exam, I asked you to write on King Lear as a tragic hero, right? I think this is one of the questions that you had. I gave you a statement by King Lear, and I said discuss with reference to King Lear's character as a tragic hero, right? And the statement starts with Goneril with a white beard. They have told me I had white hairs in my beard, ere the black ones were there, right? So, and I said, in this part, King Lear highlights the true nature of kingship. And I said, according to him, the word of kingship is the word of hypocrisy. So people are flatterers, they are hypocrites. So they try to flatter the king in order to get what they want. So that's why King Lear in this part is saying that they used to tell me that I was a wise person, although I was not wise. And King Lear realizes that. When he was king, he was not a wise person. He became wise when he became mad. Okay? So I said discuss with reference to the character of King Lear as a tragic hero. So this means that you have to discuss King Lear as a tragic hero, and here you have to discuss the major implications of tragedy, i.e., the noble cause of the tragic hero, the tragic flaw of the tragic hero, and the understanding that he achieves at the end, right? So let's say you are discussing the noble cause of King Lear. Okay, so when you are discussing the noble cause of King Lear, you can't shift abruptly, directly into discussing his tragic flaw. So if you discuss King Lear's noble cause and his tragic flaw in one paragraph, it means that your paragraph lacks unity. This is the meaning of unity. Unity means that a paragraph presents one main idea and develops that main idea. Okay? So your first paragraph should elaborate or should develop the noble cause of King Lear. Then in the second paragraph you can discuss the tragic flaw of King Lear. So this is the meaning of unity. Okay? Now support means that you have to present supporting details, i.e. details to support your own topic sentence. So here we have two types of supporting details. We have primary or main supporting details and secondary supporting details. So the main supporting details support the main idea, i.e. the topic sentence. And the secondary supporting details support the main supporting details. Okay? So it means that you need to elaborate. So that's why when you write short answers, short essays on the exam, I usually write it needs elaboration. So it means that your answer lacks proper analysis of the topic. So this is the meaning of elaboration. So elaboration means that you have to support your topic sentence with main details and secondary details. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Yes,
Coherence means that your ideas flow smoothly. In other words, one idea leads to another. Okay? So this is the meaning of coherence. It means that your ideas are well organized. Okay? So here in English or in any language, in composition, we have coherence either through ideas that lead to one another or through using linking signals, i.e. transitional words. Linking signals, i.e. signals that link the ideas. Okay, so this is what we mean by coherence. And you may come across coherence and cohesion in your language courses. I'm not going to discuss them because I don't want to interfere with the courses that you are taking with other instructors. This is enough. So I'm saying that coherence comes from two things. The first thing is that the ideas lead to one another. So in this case, you don't need linking signals. And the second idea is that you link your ideas using transitional words. So this is the meaning of coherence. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so you have unity. It means that each paragraph deals with one main idea. Support means that you have to present details. You have to elaborate on the topic sentences. And coherence means that your ideas should be well organized, i.e. one idea leads to another. So that's why I usually say, write a well-organized, thought out essay. Okay? Well-organized means that there is a certain kind of organization. And I mentioned this last time when I gave you the example of the top of the thesis statement that is related to your ideal person, right? And I said, you can say my sister is my ideal person because she is hardworking, trustworthy, and faithful, let's say. So this thesis statement shows me that I have three main ideas, and the organization of the ideas should follow this order. So I said she is hardworking, so it means that it is the first body paragraph. Trustworthy is the second body paragraph, and faithful is the third. So this is the meaning of organization. Okay? Unity means that, or thought out, it means that your essay is the result of thinking logically. Okay? So logic in composition means that an essay is the result of thinking. Okay? And when you think properly, you have a well-organized essay. Okay? So your duty is to read these two essays. I will go over them quickly to show you how some paragraphs lack
Doctor,
topic
I
content.
can't find the pages. In my book, it starts with page an introduction to qualitative research.
No, the first chapter is entitled Introduction to Essay Development. Right? This is the first chapter. Okay? Then the following chapter is entitled Examples. Did you find it?
My book is different. I don't know why.
Why is it different? Are you repeating the course?
No, I took it like 3 years ago. Then I traveled and I didn't do the exam.
Yes, you have to buy another book, ya Ines Jamal. I remember your name.
Okay.
You took the course with me the first time I taught the course. It was the academic year 15, 16, I think.
16. Yes, that's
Okay? And the book at that time I said should be changed if you still remember. Because I said the chapters that we have in this book, will be taught next semester in critical approaches to research in language. So that's why I used to give you handouts, if you still remember.
yes.
Okay, so we have to buy the new book. So you may get the book that we used last year. It is entitled Principles of Research, 5th semester, and you may have the date 2019 or academic year 2020. It depends on the person who sells the book at the university. Okay, so the book that you had in 2015 is no longer used. Okay, Ines?
Yes, doctor. Okay.
Okay, so next time we will discuss Sylvia Plath's poem Third. You may have the poem at the end of the book. Those who have the new book. Third, P-U-R-D-A-H. Okay? And the poem was written by Sylvia Plath. Third, P-U-R-D-A-H. Sylvia Plath, S-Y-L-V-I-A Plath, P-L-A-T-H. This is the name of the poetess. Sylvia Plath is an American poetess. She was born, I think, in 1932 or 33. She died in 1963. Sylvia Plath is considered one of the most important modern American poets. She is a feminist poetess. In other words, in her poems, she deals with the status of women in a patriarchal society. Okay? Now, a patriarchal society is a society that is controlled by men. I will spell patriarchal for you. P-A-T-R-I-A-R-C-H-A-L. Patriarchal. A patriarchal society is a male-dominated society, i.e., it is a society that is controlled by men. And in this society, women are considered marginal, i.e., they are not as important as men are. In a patriarchal society, women are deprived of their rights. They have no rights at all. Women lack the freedom of acting, the freedom of thinking, the freedom of expressing themselves. So this is the position of women in a patriarchal society. Women are considered as objects owned, possessed by the male figures of their society. Okay, so women are considered as objects owned by their fathers or by their husbands. Okay? And her duties are limited to her house. Okay? So she is not allowed to work outside the house. She's not allowed to contribute to the political affairs of her country or society. Okay? So that's why the feminist movement aims at liberating women and at giving their rights and their freedom. Therefore, the feminist movement aims at giving women the same rights as men do. So in other words, they want women to be placed on an equal footing with men. So this is the methodology, the approach to Sylvia Plath's paragraph. Okay, so I will analyze the poem from this point of view. Okay, so I will read it as a feminist poem in which Sylvia Plath portrays the status of women in a patriarchal society. Okay, so this is one part, one aspect of the poem. Now another part, another issue that Sylvia Plath deals with in this poem is how to liberate women from the constraints, the dictates of their patriarchal society. Okay, so at the end, the protagonist, i.e. the woman, who is the main character, the protagonist says that I will or I shall unleash or I shall unloose, to be accurate, I'm quoting the poem. The lady at the end says, I shall unloose from the doll that he guards like a heart the lioness, the shriek in the bath, the cloak of horse. Okay, so at the end of the poem, the lady decides to rebel against her society. How? She will rebel ferociously, like an animal. So that's why she says, I shall unloose the lioness. The lioness is an animal. So she wants to rebel ferociously against her society. She wants to unloose the mantle of holes. And a mantle here is a dress. And it is a mantle of holes. It is an old dress, worn out dress. So she compares the traditions, the customs, the conventions of her society to a worn out dress. So she wants to destroy the old-fashioned conventions of her society. Okay? I will dismiss the class at this point. I will send you the poem by WhatsApp, or you may download it. The poem is available online. Okay? So don't say you don't have it in the book. I know it is not available in the book. Okay? So you either download it, or I will send it to you by WhatsApp. So I will dismiss the class at this point, because you have a class at 1:45 with Dr. Sonia Sykes. So go there, attend her class, and I will call Dr. Sonia Sykes now. And I will tell her that I have already dismissed the class, because last time you didn't attend her class. Okay, goodbye. We will meet on Thursday at 12. Do you have any question before I dismiss the class?
Goodbye, doctor. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye, doctor.